The Forester Sport is one of the best off-road capable CUVs on the market today. It's affordable, practical, and it does most things extremely well. Despite having one main change for the 2024 model year, that's honestly left me a bit disappointed. Welcome, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that's the 2024 Subaru Forester Sport in a color called Crystal White Pearl. And in case you haven't heard, 2024 has actually been confirmed to be the last year of this 5th generation Subaru Forester, and it's potentially the best generation that we have and will have for quite a while. So here I am to review it for you. But if you're new here, I actually own Subarus. I used to have a Crosstrek Premium for 2 years, and now for the most recent 2 years, I've had an Outback Wilderness. And I've driven dozens of new Subarus on my channel, including all the Foresters for last year. So today, you can expect to see a walk around, all the specs, initial driving impressions, 0 to 60 on my GPS, and then my final thoughts to help you decide if you should consider buying now or waiting a couple months for the 2025 6th generation of the Forester to come out. Big thanks to Twin Falls Subaru for letting me borrow theirs for the day. I'll link this one below if you're interested. Otherwise, let's dive right in with this review. If you're new to Subarus or the Subaru Forester in general, you should know that this model first came out back in 1997 and it's been around ever since. So this is the 5th generation that started in 2019, and now for 2024 this is the 6th and final year of that 5th generation. So all the bugs have been worked out. It's very refreshed, very refined. Speaking of, its major facelift refresh was in 2022. And if you're wondering how expensive these are and what they offer, well, the Foresters range between about $27,000 for a base model up to about 40 grand for a fully loaded touring. This one is a sport, so it's about the 3rd trim level after the premium, and it starts at about $32,000. But after the options that you'll see this one has, it's closer to $35,000. But thankfully, you can often get a pretty good deal on these where they're not new. You know, inventory needs to be sold out for the new 2025s to come around. So hopefully you could get up to maybe even a couple $1,000s off depending on where you are. But if you're considering the Sport, you need to know that the main changes that it has over the lower premium model are these 18-inch black wheels. Bold exterior accents, which are called orange, but in person, in direct sunlight, I think they look more like apple red rather than an orange, personally. You have the dual function X mode, similar to what you'd have on the Outback, similar to what you'd have on the Forester Wilderness. You have hill descent control, blind spot detection, rear cross traffic alert. You have the smart SI drive. So basically it's almost as if you're downshifting and you have a little bit more torque at hand when you're doing rolling accelerations, or intelligent mode to maximize your MPG. And then you have the two-tone cloth upholstery. Last year, Subaru sold about 114,000 of these. The best they've ever sold in America is about 180,000. And something really cool is these are still assembled in Japan and then shipped overseas to the US market, where we are. If you're shopping for potentially a new or used CUV, I definitely recommend you at least test drive one of these. And if you can get your hands on one in the winter when there's snow on the ground, I recommend you do that. These are extremely competent in snow. With the Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, they just handle better than Toyota, Mazda, Honda, Volkswagen, all of their all-wheel drive systems. They are reactionary. Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive is all the time, so you're not slipping, sliding around, and then hoping that it kicks in, hoping that it torque vectors enough torque to the rear wheels in the appropriate fashion. No, this thing's always pulling with the front and pushing with the rear to help keep you stable on the road. And there's a reason why Subarus often have kind of like a cult enthusiast following, because once you've driven one, you start to understand why people often remain with Subarus. And specifically the Forester, where it's a killer deal, it's a killer package. These are only about 15 feet long, so they're shorter than most sedans, but they're about 6 feet wide and 5.5 feet tall, and they weigh about 3,500 pounds. So it's stable on the road, it's well planted in how it's designed, but it doesn't feel overly heavy. It feels agile and pretty light on its feet while inspiring confidence for the driver. The wheelbase is just under 9 feet. It's 3 inches shorter than the Outback, so it's about 8.75 feet. And then the payload capacity is not class leading, but it's still about 900 pounds. So you can carry about 5 average full-size adults, or a couple adults and a couple 100 pounds of extra cargo in this. It has 8.7 inches of ground clearance with a 370 final drive ratio, and then being a non-wilderness, it can tow about 1,500 pounds. I'll show you under the hood in just a couple minutes and we'll talk about the specs, but it is a 2.5 liter Subaru Boxer engine, so it's low. It adds to the lower center of gravity. As you can tell by the giant windows, a lot of the weight of this vehicle is on the lower half. It's not top heavy, which adds to how well it feels on the road, but it is connected to a CVT, which is very smooth. It allows this to get better mileage than an equivalent automatic would be. But I do recommend you consider buying an extended warranty, because CVTs are very expensive if they have to be replaced outside of warranty. But I will say I have never heard on the forums, and I read the forums, of a modern Subaru Boxer or Turbo Boxer engine failing. It seems like the engines are well sorted out, but maybe consider that extended warranty for the transmission. If you guys like this video so far, please consider liking, potentially even subscribe. I post once or twice a week. That small act of kindness, liking my video, really goes a long way. Thank you guys. Last things to mention out here, and then we'll hop inside, is the gas tank is located on the passenger side. When you lock the vehicle, the gas tank's locked, and when you unlock the vehicle, the gas tank unlocks. So don't waste siphoning your gas, but it is a 16.6 gallon tank. This is rated for about 26 city, about 33 highway. So your max road trip and range is gonna be around 550 miles. And then it has a Falcon all-season tire, 18-inch wheel. It's a 225. 55 18. Unfortunately, it's just a temporary spare in the back. But then on the remote, you have lock, unlock, power liftgate, panic button, but you can leave the proximity key in your pocket because you can lock and unlock the vehicle. You can also get a remote start through the My Subaru app. The door panel of the Forester looks really good. There's a lot of different materials in here. You kind of have a cloth door card and then different shades of black with the lunar moon landing surface. Interestingly enough, Subaru's whole goal is to make a spacecraft called the Forester, take it to the moon, and plant trees on the moon. But that's another story for another time. Soft door card, the orange, or what I think is red, stitching from Hobby Lobby. About an 11-finger handle, all of your buttons, switches, controls, harmony card and speakers, bottle holder, snack pocket, baby-sized Subaru on the door sill. If they're gonna make it so small, why did they even put that there, honestly, guys? Look at the proportions. The all other mats aren't installed yet. But you do have rubberized pedals, hood release, fuse box, all of your options. This Sport really is pretty well loaded. Ventilation, trip reset, lighting stock, 10-way power adjusted heated cloth, dual color tone cloth seats, and then the big panoramic sunroof up top. Sitting inside, the 24 Forester is really nice. It's comfortable, it's easy to find a nice driving position, and the windows are ginormous, so you can really see what's going on around you. I would recommend you either bring your sunglasses or you get the windows tinted, because they are seriously huge. Otherwise, it's a comfortable leather wrapped wheel. The horn and the extension for that comes down here, which I appreciate. It's loud, but it is kind of high pitched. Voice and volume controls on the left of the wheel, extra info buttons. You have adaptive cruise settings, and then your sport, which is basically like a downshift, normal sport mode, or intelligent mode. Paddle shifters for the 8-speed on the back, lighting stock again, windshield washer stock. And when you fire right up with the push button start, the needles dance. It roars to life. The steering responsive headlights do their little dance, and it shows you basically everything you need to know. If you go through the info, those little paddle shifters down there, you get pretty good options. If you click info right there, you get the upper screen information. And then this one has the upgraded 8-inch screen compared to the 6.5 with those harmony card and speakers you've already seen. But where is the CD player? That is the thing that Subaru took away from the 2024 model year, which I'm really disappointed. Thankfully, it still has physical HVAC buttons. We already know that the 2025 model year won't, especially on the 11.6-inch screen. So buy one of these while you can. Personally, if I were to buy one, this is the one I would get. I'm kind of disappointed with some of those changes for the new one. But otherwise, you have a plug-in to USB as a 12-volt rubberized area. Piano black around the shifter. The rear view camera takes up the whole thing. Trajectory lines do move. So overall, it's pretty good. There is a little bit of reflection from the protective screen, as you can see over it. And then electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, 2-stage X mode, heated seats, no front-facing camera like the Wilderness gets. You have cup holders. Subaru didn't go through the effort of redesigning and taking away the CD tray when they took away the actual CD player. So I don't know what's up with that. And then a 12-volt in here. I will say some of the other Subaru models like the Legacy, the Outback, the Ascent Touring, those actually come with an in-console CD player, so maybe that could be added to this one. I guess we'll find out. Auto dimming mirrors, compass, home link, or garage door buttons. They work really good. Even the side mirrors auto dim, which is really cool. You have LED lights. You have your sunglass holder, your giant pano moonroof, which is fantastic. And then you even have an LED light when you're checking yourself out right there. Otherwise, let's turn it off and we'll hop in the back. The rear driver's side door panel follows all the same theme and design language and very similar materials throughout. Small door pocket, but the proportions are much larger on this one, and then you have an unnamed speaker down there. Otherwise, you still have the baby-sized Subaru, a little bit of grip in case you're getting up to those heavy-duty roof rails. And then these back seats do recline with the pull of a strap, several degrees as you can see there, so even 6.5-foot passengers can probably ride back here fairly well. And then this is the 40 split. It's light, it's easy to maneuver around. And then at 5'11", sitting behind myself, without the seat reclined, I still have that much room. Double map pocket, pamphlets, ventilation, no heated seats, but I do have some USBs right there. And then cup holders in the center. Although Subaru needs to rotate that 90 degrees so you can fit your arm without taking up your cup holder. I guess you only get one or the other. And then there is that giant pano moonroof. Otherwise, let's hop out and I'll show you the hatch. I actually think the back of the Forester looks pretty good for what this vehicle is, for being a more curvy Subaru design. But there's 4 main ways to get into the back. You can either push the button that's underneath the Subaru emblem, push the button on the dashboard, climb through the back seats, or use the button on the remote. But before we do, there's a pin code next to the Subaru emblem. I have a video on how to set that, as well as a video on 14 tips and tricks you may not have known about your Subaru. Otherwise, back here we have about 29 cubic feet of room, but when you drop the seats, you have closer to 74, so it's actually pretty spacious for being only 15 feet long. But keep in mind, that comes from a very wide and tall cargo area. You can even see how wide it is on the outside, and then it kind of slopes in a little bit. But you have a 12 volt, some bag places to tie down, some light tie downs, a little bit of storage behind the rear driver wheel well, whereas the Harman Kardon speaker takes up the other side, and then you have the same bag tie downs. You have a few spots to recline your sunshade, your privacy shade too if you want. It does fit underneath here with all that extra storage, your tools, and your temporary spare tire. So that's pretty cool. What are you guys gonna hide under here? Comment below. Otherwise, you can either lock and lower the hatch or just lower the hatch. There's really nothing new or surprising on the rear passenger side. You'll notice that the windows are tinted from the factory, unlike the front windows, which is common on non-base trim levels. And then the same door card materials, grip down here, map pockets, recline, and 60 split. It still is pretty light, and then your child safety tethers are on the back. Even the passenger riding shotgun gets proximity key features to lock and unlock the vehicle. Otherwise, the door card, it all looks basically the same as the driver's, minus a few of the extra controls that you'd get. Baby-sized Subaru on the door sill, no electronic power options on the seat other than the fact that they're heated, but my backpack doesn't care. It's having a good time sitting upright, knowing that it's in a safe vehicle. You have the lunar moon landing surface follow further into the cabin, and then locking glove box with the key that's hidden in your proximity key. No plugins here, though, like you get on the Outback and the Legacy. Those have a 12 volt, this does not. Otherwise, guys, let's come around to the front. I want to pop the hood, finally show you that 2.5 liter boxer before we take it on the road. Under the hood is a not overwhelming but very reliable 2.5 liter boxer engine. You'll notice induction goes through the grille, the filter in the box, underneath the cover through the throttle body, and then those intake runners to each side of the horizontally opposed boxer cylinders. But otherwise, everything is right where you want it. All the maintenance items are easy to get to, your filters, your fluids, your battery, all that stuff. This one makes about 182 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and about 176 foot-pound-feet of twisty torque at 4,400 RPM. So it gets the job done. But if you live at altitude, you may want to consider a turbo Subaru model that loses less power due to the less oxygen density. Otherwise, let's take it on the road and let's see how it drives. This is one of my favorite parts. I'm gonna time travel and teleport you to one of my favorite roads. I'll show you how it drives. We'll do the 0 to 60, and then we'll meet back here for my final thoughts. Initial driving impressions of the 24 Forester Sport. is that this is probably about as pleasant as any Subaru is to drive. You have pretty good ride height. Visibility is just fantastic. The side mirrors, the rear view mirror, where this is only about 15 feet long, and just how ginormous the regular mirrors are with the pano moonroof. It's just a really nice driving experience. I feel like I sit fairly upright in this, almost like a truck, rather than, you know, slumped down like a car. And it's just pleasant. Even the hood slopes forward, so you can really see, well, you can even see birds fly right in front of your vehicle before you nearly miss them. But when you have to get up to speed, I'm in intelligent mode right now. Acceleration is not where the 182 horsepower Forester shines. It shines with how smooth and stable it is on the road. Almost 9 inches of ground clearance and symmetrical drive. It feels really confident to drive it. When you have to get on the brakes, even at half pedal, it does a really good job at slowing you down. And with an abundance of safety features, being a top safety pick plus, you know, you and your family are going to be rather well off to avoid accidents, or if you ever were in one, you're going to be better off than most other vehicles. The seats are overall pretty comfortable. They're not very bolstered on the side to keep you in if you go around a corner too fast, but they're comfortable and they're heated. I have the heated feature on right now, and Subaru seats have never been the hottest in my opinion. I think Mazda and some other brands like Toyota have hotter seats, but it'll keep you warm, it'll keep you toasty, especially on a 27-degree day like we have today. But if an animal pops out on the country road, as that sometimes happens, and you're going maybe 20 miles an hour, let's see how well this changes direction. It responds not too laggy from when you first engage the wheel, turning drastically like that, but it's no sports car. It is a little bit taller, there is a lot of body roll, and you're definitely going to feel that. But overall, this is a really nice place to be. The Harman Kardon speakers, I wish the quality of those or what came standard on these. I don't think they're bad, but there's a lot of glass in here, so you do get a little bit of wind noise potentially. Bumps don't really intrude into the cabin too well, and rock and road noise with these all-season tires, like a sportier tire would be. Overall, it's pretty well balanced. Definitely drive one for yourself before you place your order and check out the competition. But the Forester is one of my absolute favorite Subarus, and I've driven a lot of these. Anyways, let's get to the 0 to 60. 0 to 60, density altitude's 2,500 feet, so this one's down on power about 7 or 8%. We're in Sport Sharp, traction's off, brake rev, let's go. And true 0 to 60 came in actually pretty quick at 8.76 seconds. Here's the graph, and now my final thoughts. My final thoughts of Subaru's final Forester Sport with the 5th generation is this is a really good vehicle. I do wish they offered the turbo engine. I can't imagine the R&D costs implanting that engine as an option onto this platform would have costed much more than anything else they do, where these are all global platforms that most of the Subarus share. But this is a really good vehicle, especially in crystal white pearl. It really pops in the sunlight. However, most of what you guys got to see today, unfortunately, is just an overcast day. I really like these. You know, 0 to 60 in the upper 8s, not fantastic. I will say if this was a hot summer day when density altitude's about 7,500 feet here, it would have been slower, more like 10 seconds, maybe a little bit more. So a turbo Outback equivalent to this is on average about 2 to 3.5 seconds faster, depending on time of year and how the turbo compensates. But overall, this is safe. It's gonna take care of you and your family as long as you take care of it. Service it well. Subarus are a little bit finicky, they need their service, but they can be extremely reliable. As I mentioned earlier, if you buy one, maybe consider an extended warranty at some point before your powertrain warranty runs out for the CVT, if you're gonna keep it really, really long term. But overall, these are fantastic, and I don't have any reservations to recommending one. Just test drive it, test drive the competition, know what you're getting into. And with that said, if you're still listening, thanks for watching for so long. Like this video, your act of kindness really goes a long way, helps my channel to grow. That's the only thing I ask in return for making these videos for you, which I really enjoy doing. Otherwise, subscribe if you want to watch more of my stuff. but that's up to you. I'll see you on the next one, I hope. Take care, guys.